Hey guys, today we're going to start solving some basic word problems, and let me just say that these word problems all will be the type of kind of starter problems that we'll solve that include one variable. So the first thing you got to do is really to read and understand the problem. Read it more than once. Don't think that you can read it one time and understand it perfectly. I would also recommend when you're reading and understanding problems, draw a diagram. I cannot stress enough that you want to draw a diagram. I can't solve a problem without having to write down stuff that the problem is made of, even if it's silly things like stick figures and things like that. But I always draw a diagram, whether it's a rectangle, triangle. Sometimes I'll put stick figures, and it doesn't have to be beautiful, but sometimes just putting down on paper some ideas in a more graphic form will help you understand. If there's important information that's in the problem, maybe underline it, write it down. Things that where it says perimeter, put down the perimeter. Maybe put down some things that help you remember perimeter or area. Like if you're looking for an area, you can put area and question mark and things like that. So really the first thing is you really have to understand what the problem is all about and what it's looking for. Secondly, because we are dealing with algebra here, we want to define the variable. Really, it's defining a variable means searching for the unknown. And in these problems, there's going to be several unknowns, but sometimes they refer to each other. So you figure out what it is that's really unknown, and that you're going to put a variable to that unknown, like maybe X is the number of cans, or the number of square yards on the football field, or whatever it is. What you want to do is define that variable, and it doesn't matter what variable that you use. I use X pretty frequently, but you pick out any variable you like, figure out what the unknown is, and say let X equals blah blah blah. Okay. Next, you want to write an equation. And the equation actually will usually be pretty simple once you've done the step before by defining the variable. Often it'll just come right out and you'll be able to figure out what the equation is instantly. Just look for the relationships, use the variables that you have just defined, and generally speaking, it's pretty simple at that point. Once you've written the equation, solve it. Most of these equations will be basic stuff that we've taught you throughout the year. And all you're going to do is try to get the variable alone. So you're going to get X equals something, some number. However, that's not always the end. The last step is to answer the simple question. Sometimes when you get X alone here, whatever number that is, whether it's 9 or 6 or whatever, is not the answer to the question. Maybe the question is asking you about a perimeter or an area or a specific number or the number of cows, whatever it is. Answer the simple question and you'll be all golden. Right, our first problem here, would you take a second and look at it? The sum of two consecutive integers is negative 35. Find the smallest of the two integers. Okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page, sum means adding. So two consecutive integers mean two numbers in a row. Like for example, 5 and 6. So these are consecutive, they're side by side, and we say the sum of two consecutive integers, we're saying something like that. And if you add them up, we would have 11. So we would know that, well, that's not it. So it would be something else. So we're not going to do a guess and check. We're going to use some algebra. Now let me say, it's not that you can't do it guess and check, because you can, but the reason we're doing these problems, not because they're important problems, is because they're simple problems that I know you can get without algebra, but we want to see how we can use algebra to do it. So the first thing we're going to do is define our variables. So we have two things we're looking for: consecutive integers, so it's two in a row. Just like we had the 5, 6. We have one smaller than the other. So I really like to do in these problems, I say my smaller integer is X. So what would the larger integer be? Well, just like in our problem that we just threw out, that 5 and 6, well, the next one, if this is smaller, the next one would have to be X plus 1. So the larger integer is whatever the one was before it plus 1. Okay? Now we want to write a simple equation. Well, it says the sum of these two equals negative 35. So basically I'm taking the smaller integer x and I'm adding the larger integer x plus 1, and when I add these all up I'm going to get negative 35. These of course are like terms. Subtract 1 from both sides, divide by 2, and x equals negative 18. Yay! But wait. What's the question? In this case, it says find the smallest of the two integers. What did I solve for? X happens to be the smaller of the two integers, so the smaller integer is negative 18. Okay, let's try another one. This one I gave in class today, and a couple people did get it, but I want to kind of untangle what looks like a very complicated problem. Please take a second and read the problem. Okay, well basically it says the sum of the angles of any triangles is 180 degrees, and that's just a condition, that's a property of triangles. In triangle ABC, angle B is 3 times as large as angle A, angle C is 12 degrees more than angle B, find the measure of the three angles. Again, if you read it quickly, it can sound very complicated. So as you read, just make a drawing. Now for me, I make a drawing and I don't make sure that it's not to scale, so this isn't supposed to be exactly it, but just so that I understand that I have three angles I'm looking for. This angle here, which I would call A, this angle here, of course, what I would call B, and this angle that I would call C. I know that they all add up, they have to add up to 180 degrees. So next I want to identify the unknown. Okay, well heck, they're all unknown. It would seem that that's like three unknowns. I would use three variables. But not really. The only thing that we can handle right now where we are in algebra is one unknown. So I'm going to read the problem carefully this time. In triangle ABC, angle B is, angle B equals, is 3 times as large as angle A. So here's what I'm going to do. This is my unknown, angle A. So I'm going to say angle A is x. Then it says angle B is 3 times as large as angle A. So I'm going to just put angle B is 3 times as large as angle A. So that's 3 times as large as x, so it's 3x. Now when I come down to angle C, it says angle C is 12 degrees more. So I'm going to be adding, right, plus 12 is 12 degrees more than angle B. Well, if I have angle B at 3x, then, and I have 12 more than that, I'm just going to do 3x plus 12. So now we've identified our unknowns of A, B, and C, and now we want to write an equation. Well, if you look carefully, the equation is basically...
Zachary Alexander, please report to the main office. Zachary Alexander to the main office.
Yeah, Zachary, get down there. Anyway, the sum of the angles in any triangle is 180 degrees. So I know that angle A plus angle B plus angle C, the sum, we add them all up, it's 180. Angle A we use as x. Angle B is 3x, and of course angle C is 3x plus 12. We can go ahead and combine like terms here. Subtract 12 from both sides, divide by 7, and we have x equals 24, and that's my weight. We can't circle this answer as our answer just because we solved for x. We didn't answer the question. We want to answer the simple question. Find the measures of the three angles, all three. So, angle A is, of course, 24 degrees. Angle B, we just plug in that 24 into here. 3 times 24 is 72. And then finally for angle C, well, it's 72 plus 12 is 84, and we have our solutions. Okay? So what I'd like you guys to do for tomorrow is just do these two problems on your own. We'll go over them in class. Again, try to do these with the technique that we use, those 5 steps. Define the variable, write an equation, solve it, and answer the question. We'll work on these tomorrow with many more. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and we'll see you tomorrow.